So just wanted to give a few thoughts about this state of inner silence, what it is and how we can work towards it and kind of dispel some myths or misconceptions about it. When we think about a state of inner silence, pure inner silence, peace, we might think of a yogi meditating in a cave somewhere in the Himalayas or something like that, not doing anything, not saying anything, maybe not eating, not drinking, not sleeping, not going to toilet, whatever. This might be what we imagine, and by imagining like this we might need to think that in order to attain or reach to that same state we kind of have to sit and force ourselves, kind of forcibly try and put the mind down, suppress the mind, suppress the thoughts, suppress the emotions, kind of like running a tap and then putting our thumb or finger under it to kind of cut the water off. I think this is completely false to think about inner silence like this. Most of the beings that have been established, well steeped in inner silence have been tremendously active in the world. A lot of these beings accomplished a lot in the world, did a lot in the world, spoke a lot, taught a lot about Dharma and the path, and guided a lot of people and all of these kind of things. These were really, and still are, luminaries, great beings, lions. So the main point that I want to get at here about state of inner silence is that it's some kind of void or dead state or numb state or dull state. It's a vibrant state, it's a radiant state, and it's an active state, right? So it's movement. When that inner silence is there, it immediately engenders movement, and we don't know what movement is going to be, right? The movement, what we do in our life, how we use our time when we get well established in inner silence, we don't know what it's going to look like. The more we go into silence, the more we connect to silence, the more we establish ourselves in silence, the more that silence begins to shape us in a different way. The more that silence begins to move us through life in a different way that maybe we didn't imagine before, right? So this also has consequences for the way that we should approach inner silence, the way that we should practice. Because why are we not in inner silence right now? Because we're thinking about many things. What are we thinking about? This is a question we all have to answer for ourselves, right? What are we thinking about all the time? When we sit down, when we try to be still and silent, why can't we be? What are we thinking about? What's so important? What's so meaningful? What's so troubling? What's so worrying? What's so anxiety-inducing, right? So one of the things that keeps us locked out of silence is conflict within the mind. Should I do this? Should I do that? Should I say this? Should I say that? All kinds of battles that we have inside ourselves that I would call battles between heart and mind, right? Heart is that gut sense of intuition that knows what we want to do, what knows how we really feel, what knows what we really want to say. And it's usually pretty fearless, this voice of the heart. It's usually pretty fearless and it's usually pretty direct. Whereas the mind's voice is usually full of fears, full of anxieties, full of doubts, full of judgment, guilt, shame, whatever. And usually it has a long list of excuses why we shouldn't follow our hearts, So for me, the heart represents naturalness, the mind represents unnaturalness. So a lot of the noise and chatter that goes on within our minds is this battle between heart and mind, or naturalness and unnaturalness. So basically what I'd like to say is that this state of inner silence, what we think or imagine is a state of inner silence, it is a state of total naturalness, total anchoring in the heart. And anchoring the heart, I don't want to give that as a kind of spiritual buzzword or spiritual platitude or spiritual buzz phrase. Anchoring in the heart means we're guided through life by our deepest feeling for what's true, what's right, what's authentic and genuine for us. And when we do that, when we're fully established in that and we don't have doubts about it, then, to put it simply, maybe too simply, there's not much to think about. Okay? Because there's no conflicts there. Things are clear to us. Right? What to do, where to go, who to be with, right? What to say. All of this becomes very clear to us. So when we're thinking about, when we're aiming at inner silence, when we're aiming at, for example, samadhi, these higher states of meditation, and we're sitting down and meditating and we're kind of constipating ourselves by trying to block our thoughts, block our emotions and whatever, we should know and understand that silence is a state of perfect naturalness. And until we are perfectly natural, until we are perfectly tuned to ourselves, to our own uniqueness, to our own authenticity, then it will be impossible to be silent, because there will be too much conflict inside of ourselves. And this conflict can even be, oh, I want to be silent, I'm not silent, so let me try and block my thoughts. That's also a conflict, right? So inner silence is a state without conflict. Inner silence is a state of total naturalness and harmony with ourselves. It's an effortless state. It's not achieved through sitting and making protracted, constipated efforts in meditation. It's achieved through living, actually, through time, through living in an extremely authentic way, extremely fearless way. We settle down in ourselves. And this settling down has to happen through life. Life happens, life is going on, life is moving. We are moving, we are being moved through life. And we have to know how to do this, we have to know how to live, how to move. So this is the science of naturalness. This is really the science of the natural path, Tata path, Avadhuta path. It's where there's no division between stillness and movement, between stillness and perfectly natural movement, perfectly effortless movement, that movement itself becomes the expression of silence. That movement then carries the fragrance of silence. The words that person speaks carry the fragrance of that state that they are in. And they don't have limits. They can do whatever. They can be active on any level. They can be multidimensionally active. And their silence is not disturbed. Because their silence is their naturalness. Their silence is their free flow of action. Their silence is their innate understanding of Dharma. Which, as I said in the last video, Dharma it's our deepest feeling that comes from the core of us, the essence of us, about what's right and what we should do. Right? So these are some thoughts about silence and how it relates to naturalness. You know, it's all one thing. This state that we're aiming for, this natural state, it's a state of wholeness. It's not a conflicting state. It's not a state of suppression, repression. It's a lived state. It's an alive state. It's, as I say, it's a natural state. It feels natural, and you get into this state. You work towards this state through being natural.